All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Awakened Life. This is a spiritual hub for the New Age babe to come together and to create a community with both Julia and I. Today, we will be focusing on breaking down barriers, breaking down energetic blockages so that we can build ourselves back up again. Since it is the 4th of July, we're going to be focusing on freedom, and it's going to be a really, really great episode. Julie and I are both super psyched to be here today together with you in this beautiful morning and just being able to speak about energetic blockages, how to find them, what's going on with them, how to release them, more importantly, and how to be free in your life. So we're going to be speaking about freedom, essential oils, affirmations, meditations, a lot of other fun stuff. And it's going to be a whole new format than we normally have. And we can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah.
So Julia, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello, hello.
I'm so excited that we kind of decided to.
Background, it looks so great.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Ooh, you just went blurry.
Ooh, I did.
Something spiritual just went on. Some psycho-spiritual stuff. Yeah, I'm really excited that we decided to change the format. It feels a lot more like us, and it feels a lot more like the conversations that we're having on a day-to-day basis, which I think is what most people will benefit from, but hopefully a little bit more organized.
Yes. People can understand us.
Our text messages when we go back and forth, it's just like a stream of consciousness.
Yes, we have.
And it's always like someone's absent. It's like 45
so we won't put you through that.
It would be interesting.
Yes.
So load those up one day and let people see.
Maybe in our book that we're writing.
Oh yeah. That's definitely. We should do that. That's funny. That would be really cute.
It would be. It's cute or scary. We're not sure.
Oh my God. So where do we want to start?
Well, I know that when we were discussing this topic, we wanted it to be related to the 4th of July, obviously, since that's what we're going through right now. And we wanted to be mostly just focused on land of the me, home of the free. So we want to focus more on our inner world so that we can project a beautiful outer world. So maybe we'll discuss what's going on in our inner worlds, our chakra system, and then we can speak about, oils and astrology and all that fun stuff. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think that today we'll focus on our heart chakra because I believe that that's the one that's most affected by us not feeling free. And what I mean by feeling free is sometimes we create this world where we feel stuck. And sometimes we don't even realize how we got there. I know that Julie and I are both kind of going through this process, which is probably why we're speaking about it, because to teach us to learn. So as we're teaching you guys all of these tools, we're also learning ourselves, whether we realize it or not. And I know we've all had those moments where we take a step back and we begin to think, how did I get here? What did I do to get here? And I think that that's really what Julie and I wanted to speak about today, is realizing why you're there, what you're supposed to learn, and not only that, but how you can truly move forward. Because sometimes we think that we're stuck and we're here and there's nothing else that we can go through. We have no other options, and this is our path and this is all we have to do. And you can get easily stuck in that downward spiral of feeling negative and anxious and fearful. And today we really wanted to speak about turning fear into freedom. So how to acknowledge the fear and then break through it and be able to create a happier life. And I know Julie and I are both going through Gabby Bernstein's May Cause Miracles book, which is so ironic that we decided to do this. And we already had this content, in place before we even started the book. So her book is all about witnessing the fear and being a blind witness to it and moving forward through it. So I think that will definitely be a theme throughout our episode as well. What do you think, Julia?
Yeah, it's funny because today I was in the shower, having my deep shower thoughts, as we all do. And while I was in the shower, I was thinking, unrelated to this, but as you were speaking, it kind of just inspired me to say this out loud. I personally can deal with physical pain very, very easily. I can tell myself mentally, hey, you're experiencing this now, but in a week, this is going to be healed, or this will be better. You'll have fixed it, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow when you're going through an emotional trauma, whatever it is, on a large or small scale, um, it doesn't seem that way. It seems really hard to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where most of us kind of create this rut that we're talking about. This it's like almost like a nutshell or like a pea pod, and you're just waiting to break free, and you're constantly pushing up against it, but you can't figure out what's going to work. And that's why I think the heart chakra works so well for this topic, because if your heart chakra is off balance, really, if one chakra is off balance, everything else is off balance anyway. But if your heart chakra is off balance, it's really impacting the rest of your body and the rest of your chakra system in a way that I don't think the other chakras can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because everything comes from your heart, your passion, your love, and this joy for life that you're supposed to be feeling. And yet we get caught up in this fear behind it anyway, that we don't deserve something, or it's not the right time for something, or just a lot of different fears come
Mm-hmm.
up. I know it's definitely come up for me in the past couple of days going through Gabby's book through the first week, and it's been really powerful to kind of confront that stuff head on. You
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how fearful you really are. And it's funny because I grew up, I can't even believe I'm going to say this out loud right now, but
Go for it.
um, my stage name for many, many years was Roxy Fearless. And
I love
and
it.
if you look through my high school yearbook, that's a word that people really wrote about me quite consistently. Fearless. You're very fearless. You don't let anything get in your way. And I know that as I've been reflecting in the past week, I've been working towards, well, how do I get back to that? People really saw me as that. Was I really that fearless? Is that something that I really truly did have accomplished and have lost and need to get in touch with? It's been a long journey back to fearless.
Mm. It's crazy because we're not even that old in a sense. We're both in our 20s. And to think about how much fear we've already created or went through or attached to ourselves in like that short span of time.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the media stuff, so I'm watching Game of Thrones,
Mm.
and I'm always admiring Khaleesi, which means queen. But if you don't watch the show, um, I watched an episode last night where everything was taken away from her, and she still stands there like a boss, and she's like, no, like she doesn't accept that as her reality. She doesn't give in to defeat. And even when it's being forced upon her and she has really no choice, she kind of comes up with these creative solutions, and trying to say a lot without spoiling it, but she walks away. What? What?
But I don't watch it.
I
But
know.
for the people that are listening.
But she walks away literally unscathed. Um, and I think it's so impressive. And I was watching that last night, and I actually journaled about it before I went to bed. Like, look at how they've taken everything away from her. And even when she's at rock bottom, she's sort of this phoenix, and
Mhm.
she sort of rises from the ashes. And that's also been a motif that's coming up for me a lot recently. Hint, hint.
I know,
Um,
I
um, so I think it's really great. I think it's great that we decided to come together today and talk about this, because I think it's so empowering.
know. I agree. And I think it's interesting to take a step back and be a witness to the world that you've created. Because sometimes we don't even realize how we got here until we stop and think about it, especially just being in New York. You don't have to be from New York, but just like the world that we live in here, it's constantly go, 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 go. And sometimes that is a way to block thinking, is to constantly be on the go. And that's why I think so many people don't meditate. It's because what are you going to do for those 10 minutes? You have to be with yourself. You have to think.
Yeah.
And you can't stop all those thoughts that are coming in your head. But if you're constantly on the go, then you can never stop and think about what's really happening in your outer world. So today I think it would be really great for all of us is to just think about, because when we were children, we didn't know fear. And just like how you were saying that Khaleesi is like complete fearless. And it's like when we see something like that and we want that, it's because we still have it within us and it's being awakened by another person, which is so beautiful. And I think that's something that we should all try to strive to be, is to be that person that awakens something within someone else, that wants to bring them up. So for you it's her, and she's awakening something within you that's making you want to be fearless again. And we all have that piece to us, and we all used to be fearless, we all used to be completely free when we were children. And I think it's a good time now is to just think back and say, okay, well, when did that stop?
Right.
When did that stop? How, and maybe it was 5, maybe it was 10, maybe it was 15. It's different for everyone. Maybe you're still free. Like there are some people out there that just like, I admire them so much because they just go with the flow. They are not afraid of anything. Or, you know, it's very little that they're afraid of. And you see these like free spirits that just pick up and go. And it's like, I see that and I want that so bad, but there's something within me that's blocking that. You know, and then it's thinking back, okay, well, what happens? Who told me that I can't have that? And a lot of times it's either someone that told you something. Maybe it's even a TV show that you watch, because we are so impacted by the shows that we watch, and our energy is so it's so easily tainted. And I don't want to say that in like a negative way, but your energy is so powerful and it's so easily to pick up on on your outer world. So like when you're hanging out with someone and then you feel drained, it's because that person's energy drains you. Or if you're an empath like me and you're watching TV, you feel like you are in that show. You feel like you are
Yes.
killing people or you're being killed. And, you know, it's like, you know, this energy shitstorm that happens within you. So I want everyone to just think about that. Okay, well, when was I told that I couldn't be free? Or what do I think about when I try to be free? What is that blockage that initially comes up? What comes up for you? Is it that you're not going to be safe? Is it that you're going to not have enough money? Is it going to be, I don't know. There's so many different, and it's unique to everyone, that we have a lot of different insecurities and fears that pop up for us. Or maybe it's a person or situation that pops up for you when you want to do something that you it feels so good in your heart, but the second you go to do it, you stop. And we all have these lists of things, these bucket lists that we want to get done, but why aren't you getting them done? What's happening? Why? Like if you were 5 years old and, you know, more mature obviously, but like you probably would have gone through all of that in a day. You probably would have been completely fine just going through each list and checking it off, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, I'm so free, I have no worries, I have no fear. But now that we're older, and you could be 17, you could be 25, you could be 50, we all have fears that we've picked up along the way. But what's the main issue that's blocking that? So I think that that's an important piece into becoming free, is seeing where the root of the problem is, seeing where the root of the energy blockage is and what's coming up for you. Because I know for me, it's always about being safe. I don't know why, but it always comes up like, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to be safe there. Maybe something bad's going to happen. I've been telling myself that story over and over and over again. But when I actually push myself to do it, or someone pushes me to do it, then I'm fine. I'm completely fine. And it could be even something from a past life that's being projected into your life now that you're bringing forward with you. Because I have no issue to not feel safe, or you know, there's really no real reason for me to not feel that way. So for me, I think it's something that happened in a past life that I brought through into this life to heal. It's a karmic issue that I need to work through. What about you, Julia? What are your thoughts on this?
As you were saying that, so much came to mind. First, I want to say to everybody, I think one thing that me and Brianna are definitely learning together is that, right, actually yesterday, I wrote down my bucket list online in my iCloud. Just because I had like scattered notes like all over the place, and I'm trying to get like one organized list. And, you know, I looked at it and I was like, most of the stuff is on Long Island, actually. Why haven't I done it? Why haven't I done it? Why haven't I done this? You know, what am I really waiting for? And I think we're all constantly waiting for a perfect time, or a perfect situation or something like that. And I think one of the things that me and you are definitely learning together is that together works. So find a partner when you're going through something like this, especially when you're confronting your fears. Because I know I've shared a lot of my fears with you, and then, I'll be talking about my career, I'll be talking about my relationships or something, and all of a sudden it's like kind of like hitting that brick wall where you're like, no, that's actually just your fears.
Yeah.
And push through it, just do it. And then I'm re-energized because I wasn't looking at it that way. But now that you kind of know those inner secrets, it definitely makes it easier. And we're doing all of our bucket list stuff together. So it definitely makes it easier when you bring somebody else into the mix. Don't do this by yourself. You don't need to. There's always a community out there, or always a group of people, whether it's your soul circle or whether it's coming to the podcast and sharing your stories with us, or finding a different group that works for you. There's always somebody in your life or a group of people in your life that are going to support you and love you unconditionally as you're walking on this path. So that's definitely something that I'm learning from you.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
great lesson.
I sit, and I think sometimes people have the biggest fear of even sharing their fears. So I think that that's even like a big, round of applause for us to even let people into your world, because so many times we want to put ourselves in this like weird bubble and be like, I'm the only one that has this fear. When me and you're talking about it, we're both like, oh really? Oh, you feel that way too? And it feels good to have that sense of community, even though it's over a fear that you have, but still that you're not alone. And that's the reality of it, is that we're not alone. So many of us have all of these fears, and typically the people that you're closest to have those same fears, because energy is like a magnet. So you're attracting people into your life that have either gone through that fear, gone through that issue, or they're going through it in this moment. So it just takes one person to share it, to awaken that within you and realize, okay, I'm not alone. I can go through this with someone. And then, you could do exactly what Julie and I are doing, is holding each other accountable, or even just having someone know what your fear is, so that when you're going through that anxious state, you can't even think clearly, because you're constantly just focused on me, but not in like an egotistical way, but you can't even think about, okay, well, maybe this is my fear popping up. You need someone that's not in that situation with you, that's not in that mind game with you, to say, hey, listen, that's just your fear popping up. Well, how about we think about it in a different way?
Yeah.
And once someone says that to you, it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That never even came up for me.
You just get stuck there.
What'd you say?
I said you just get stuck there.
Exactly. And you get stuck in that circle of constantly being in that fear and that anxious state. But all it takes is one person to say, hey, listen, how about we think about it this way? Or it's something so simple. A lot of times it's mostly just a simple thing of just thinking in a different way, or just pointing something else out instead, a different route.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like we're getting there, and I feel like it's so great that we're talking about it because we're experiencing it. So I know that we're both very subjective, and we like to both talk about our personal experiences and let people learn and grow from our own personal experiences. And I think this is one of the biggest things that I've learned since I've started walking my spiritual path is I always had mentors and people that I respected and people that were coaching me, but I never really had a friend. And I think it's important when you find those people as you start to walk on the path to share your experiences with them. And I know there's also a lot of things that I've conquered already, or that you conquered already, that the other one's kind of going through right now. And we're both supporting each other through that too. So, and this all still ties into the heart chakra, which is so great because this is where friends reside, is right in your heart chakra.
Definitely. Yeah.
Sentimental.
What'd you say?
Sentimental.
Yes, I love it. But it's true. It all comes from your heart, and depending on where your heart chakra is, if it's open too much or it's closed too much, it really depicts your outer world and who's in your inner circle. And a lot of times I think that when we're unhappy with where we are in our lives, I know for me personally, it's because my heart chakra is open too much, and it's all about boundaries for me. And I think Julia is the same way. It's like you want to give and give and give and give and give, or you just want people to be happy. People pleaser. That's a big topic. And in reality, as you're pleasing other people, you're not pleasing yourself. So you feel like you're trapped because you constantly have to be in that in that state of making someone else happy, or not honoring your truth or where you're at, and then guilt pops up, and it's like so many other emotions begin to come up, and it's because your heart chakra is wide open. And it's not that you can't give love to someone else, it's not that you can't be compassionate or supportive to someone else, but you have to make sure that you're okay first, because how are you supposed to give to someone else when you're anxious, you're fearful, you're in this, this darker place, and then you're trying to help someone else? That's, you really have to make sure that you're okay first. And a lot of times we forget that because we constantly want other people to be happy, or we just want people to be proud of us, and that's a big thing too, especially with parents. And you have to make yourself proud first. You have to love yourself first. You can't just depict your life based off of what everyone else is going to think of you or how people are going to judge you. And if they're going to judge you, then you have to say goodbye to them. And that's a huge thing, because sometimes we have these friends or even family members that have been in our lives forever, and then you get to this point and you realize that you created this relationship with them that's completely inauthentic, because you're never showing them who you truly are. You're just giving them the answers that they want to hear, not the answers that truly come from you and your heart. So I think that that's a big thing probably for people that are going to be listening, because since Julia and I think are both that way to an extent, that's who we're going to attract in. But it could also be the other way too, where your heart chakra is completely closed off and you just block out emotion. And we all have those people in our lives that are just done. Like you can't get through that wall. And it sucks, because it's like you see this beautiful person, you want to be their friend or their romantic partner, and they just, something happened to them, and you can't control that, and they have to go through that in their own terms. But sometimes it's like you just go out there and you feel like you can't trust people because people have wronged you, or you feel like you can't find happiness, and that creates the blockage. And it goes both ways. And I think most people are probably going around either or. I don't think most people honestly have the perfect balance of the heart chakra, because we're just going through our lives and we're constantly being hit in different points. But it's good to have these tools that we're going to be sharing with you later on in the show to get you back to equilibrium. And it's good to be in the balance, because each balance teaches us things. So it'll teach you about boundaries if your heart's open too much. And then if your heart's not open enough, it's going to teach you how to work through that blockage. So it's pretty interesting that you can learn from both ends of the spectrum. They're not good or bad. It's just learning you. And it's more about your inner world and taking, a mental analysis of where you're at and how you can improve.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, I was thinking something that I don't want to say guilty, but for lack of better words, something that I'm truly guilty of is I am completely loyal to somebody's greatest potential. And this is where I get myself into a lot of trouble. Is a lot of the times, as I'm sure there's people listening that will feel the same way, sometimes I see a relationship or a person for their soul versus who they came in as this carnation, and I get really confused, I think, on a soul level. I suffer through this a lot. I mean, a lot, with friends, with romantic partners, with family, and I am consistently loyal to somebody's greatest potential. And what I will say to everybody is that is your heart busting wide open, right? Because anything on a soul level is love anyway. So you are getting it right, but you have to learn the difference. And I wish I had better advice for this. It's something I should really focus on more, because I don't still know the difference, but I learn a lot faster if something's not going forward anymore, and I still feel like there's a connection there. I've learned that means it's on a soul level, and that I have to just let it go, because that might not be the person's path or my path for this carnation. So but I think that your heart chakra is also your compass for that. And as you were saying that, it kind of just acts. That's honestly a lot of the times when I see the heart chakra in a meditation, I do see a compass. Unless I'm with you, then I see some weird stuff. I'm like, I was looking through my notes the other day, and I was like, oh, they pulled a cinder block out of there and some silly putty out of my sacral chakra. What the heck does that mean? But it's true. I usually see the heart chakra as a compass, and because I'm very Native American connected, if I'm talking about a particular person, I actually see the compass going in a direction, and then I know kind of where this is for my lifetime. If it's in a new beginning, or if it's in an ending, or if it's on a karmatic level. I'm starting to be able to use that, but I don't always get that. But that might be something that you want to focus on, is turning your heart chakra into its own compass or a spectrum or something like that you can kind of gauge where you're at. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up. And also what you had said before is basically releasing a person depending on what their blockage is. And I think a lot of times we feel like we can change people, and then we get stuck in their shitstorm of darkness, and it's okay. I mean, we've all been there, but I think it's about honoring your truth and knowing that you deserve better, and knowing that you can't change people. They have to be willing to change themselves. All you can do is be the light in the situation. And I know that sounds like super hippy dippy, but the reality is you just have to be yourself and honor your truth, make yourself happy, and just hope that by doing that you're going to awaken something in that person to want to be like you. And not in an egotistical way, but just by honoring your truth and living life, you're going to be happier, and your energy is going to be vibing at such a high level that hopefully that other person that's in that dark place will see that and want to be like that.
Yeah, and
versus forcing them to change.
Yeah. A lot of what we're talking about is codependency, by the way. And this is, if you're looking for a really good book to read on it, Codependent No More helped me a long time ago to start making these shifts. And I'm not all there yet, but I'm definitely in a better
closer.
What?
You're a lot closer.
Definitely than I was. I used to be really bad at this. I was very codependent on people, and I allowed people to be codependent on me. And it's actually, when it's the other way around, when somebody is codependent on you, it's actually the most annoying thing. And then you want to change it. So I read this book, Codependent No More, by Melanie Beattie. And a lot of it talks about alcoholism and dealing with someone who's an alcoholic and wanting to save the alcoholic. But if you take all of that stuff out of it, the tools and techniques that she gives you are actually really, really great. And they allow you to look. I mean, every page, it was really hard. Like the first half of the book is like all of the things that you do already. And then the second half of the book is how to change it. Yeah. And I remember just going through the first half of the book, and every page I was like, yeah, I do that. Yep, I do that. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. And it was really, I was frustrated. I actually put the book down the first time, and I had to reread it again.
Wow.
My spiritual teacher was like, of course, because you got frustrated with yourself and you were confronting a lot of things about yourself that you didn't want to. So today we're kind of building all of that stuff down much better. You're welcome. And spirit is like in and out of, I've seen it go in and out in that spot.
In my door.
Yeah. I saw it shifting before.
So crazy.
But we're kind of trying to break everything down for you guys today. We're trying to, knock down this Berlin Wall.
And we've all created.
Yeah. And get you to this point where you're kind of raw for 2 weeks, and then in 2 weeks we're going to build you back up and teach you how to rebuild all of this stuff, because it is really hard. But you need to kind of confront it first and knock it down, and then sit with that rubble for a little bit. And kind of look at all of these pieces before you can rebuild, because some of that stuff you're going to need to take back and put in there. Some of that stuff that we're going to be knocking down isn't bad. It just needs to be transformed.
Yeah. Or yeah, exactly. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think now might be a good time to do a little bit of a meditation. What do you think, Julia?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. So I think that we're going to do a meditation that's going to be about visualizing our blockage and seeing who created that blockage for us. And it could be us, it could be a family member, it could be a loved one, it could be a friend, but seeing where that blockage is attached and how to break through it. So I'm excited because I think that this will help us to energetically clear ourselves. I mean, there's more blockages than just this one, but at least this will be something that you can take with you and do it tonight, do it tomorrow, whenever you feel guided to. You can just do this meditation and do it wherever you are, and just so you can bring more happiness into your life. So for everyone listening, I just want you to sit or lie down and have your palms facing upwards. And then as you shut your eyes, focus your eyes inwards and upwards. And why I do that is that it actually activates your third eye. You always start coughing when I do my meditations.
Wow. Stuff always comes up like right away. I'm telling you, your meditations are so powerful. You need to make a CD.
One day. It'll be on iTunes. Anyway, so close your eyes, focus your eyes inwards and upwards, activating that third eye, which will let you to psychically see. And I want you to take a deep breath in, filling in your stomach, your chest, and your throat. And then pushing it out. And then just relax into your breath. Nothing special, just breathing in and out. In and out. So I want you to visualize yourself as a child. And whichever memory pops in for you, just let it be there. Let it play out like a movie. Don't try to control it. And I want you to watch yourself. Watch this person, watch this energy. And as you begin to watch this mental movie of yourself as a child, begin to notice how old you are and what was going on in your life at that time. What was happening? And as we breathe into this moment, we're going to ask Spirit to show us now what the blockage is between that happy, carefree child and who you are today. What is the main blockage that we have to work on now in this moment? And in your mind's eye, you should begin to see a situation, a person, a negative thought, whatever it might be, something's going to pop up for you. And again, don't put any parameters around it. Just let Spirit show you what is going on. How is this situation or person affecting you? And initially, you might just know. You might just know where this blockage is stemming from, how this person or situation created a blockage for you. And don't hold any negative attachment to it. Just watch it play out. Be a witness to it and hold no attachment. We are not here to hold fear or anger, resentment, anxiety towards this person or situation. We're just here to witness it, witness this situation and for what it has taught us. And as this is happening, you're probably going to feel some sort of movement, weight, or tension in your heart center. And just bring your awareness now to your heart center and notice what's going on. You might have labored breathing. Maybe your heart is racing. Whatever it might be for you, this is your connection to that person or situation. This is how it makes you feel. And again, this is not good or bad. We're just evaluating what is going on in your life and how we can break through the barrier, how we can turn your fear into freedom. And with your awareness at your heart center, feel a string or a cord coming out and attaching to that person or situation. And take notice of how this cord looks. It could be thick or thin, tight or loose. And notice the color. It could be dark, gray, black. It could even be green or pink, the color of your heart chakra. And as your awareness is on this cord, notice the energy that you are exuding into this person or situation. Notice how much energy is stuck here that you are losing from yourself, all of your beautiful, positive energy. Notice how this situation does not serve you. Notice how it is energetically draining you. And now we're going to ask Spirit to give us a tool to energetically cut this cord. And you're going to feel this tool in your right hand. This could be a pair of scissors, a sword, whatever it might be. This is your special tool to use in this moment. And on the count of 3, you're going to cut that cord. Before we do this, you're going to take a deep breath in and say to yourself that you are ready to release the situation. Deep breath in and out. And on the count of 3, you will cut that cord. 1, 2, 3. The cord is cut. Feel the energy detach from you and that person or situation. Watch as the cords fall. And more importantly, feel your energy in that heart center. Right now, it might feel like a gaping hole, and that's okay. As a wound that we will heal. And just begin to visualize that person or situation in a beautiful orb of white light and send it up to the sky, send it up to the heavens. Watch it go and drift away, far away from you. We send it light and love so it can be transmuted back into more white light. But for now, we're going to let the angels do their job and remove it from your energetic system. And now just take a moment to notice how you feel. Feel the happiness that begins to set in, a sense of calm that rushes over you. We're going to say a prayer for all of the negative energy that we may have picked up to be released from us now. And we're going to ask for all of the positive energy that we may have lost to come back to us now. And begin to feel all that positive energy pouring through that wound, pouring through your heart center. And feel it filling you back up, healing, clearing, and cleansing you. Feel it pouring in. And notice how much freer you feel and how much power you have gained, how much inner power that you have. Take one more deep breath in, filling in your stomach, your chest, and your throat, and holding it. And release. And when you're ready, open your eyes to the room.
Powerful.
I know. I feel so good too doing it. I feel like it's a cool nap with you guys.
I know. Nice shirt.
That was very groovy. Thank you, Spirit, for letting me share all of that. As my printer just turned on again.
As your what?
My printer literally just turned on.
I know. There's something going on in your house right now.
I know. So how are you feeling, Julia?
And you keep going like in and out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I know. There's like some mystical stuff.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Because it's not really me, it's spirit.
I know.
That's what you're seeing.
Imagine. Don't bug me out.
Yeah, so do you feel lighter? How do you feel initially after the meditation?
Yeah, that was very cathartic.
Good, good.
I saw myself, when I usually see myself cutting cords, I normally see a scissor. Mm-hmm. And today I saw an axe. Mm. And as I was holding it, I was like, really? But it actually felt really, really cathartic to like swing that axe over and like, you know, and to cut it.
It's funny because I was going to say scissor, but then I felt that not everyone listening needed a scissor, that they needed to have, again, that's also having your power, is being able to use what you need in that moment. And a lot of times I know I personally get caught up in it thinking I have to do everything a certain way with how everyone else does, when in reality, that's not true. We need to do what's right for us and go and see what comes to us naturally versus just doing what someone else is doing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was talking about the heart center and what could be happening to you, when I said that your heart could be racing, you like made like a noise like you were in agreement. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, which part was that?
Well, I was talking about
when it was racing, when my heart was racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I'm glad that you remembered that, because I wanted to make a mental note that that's what my heart was doing.
Crazy. Very cool. Yeah, so I hope you guys all enjoyed the meditation. I think now would be like a good segue to jump into, Julia is amazing with just discussing anything that is mystical, magical, fairy tale. And I know that she has some really great stuff that she wants to discuss about the different realms and how this connects to a specific energy. So Julia, I don't want to spoil it. So I know that you have a beautiful way of explaining it.
So I was actually laughing before because you were talking about TV shows, right? And how watching all of that, you know, as an empath really affects us. And so I wrote down actually Captain Phillips, which I thought was very funny because today when we were discussing what realm we were going to pull into this, I said, hey, I really want to talk about pirates and the pirating realm and the media stuff that goes behind that. But actually Captain Phillips ended up coming up anyway. I know. I
can't. Julia like the cases of giggles sometimes. So
it's like alfalfa.
Really silly. And for those of you that can't see us right now, Julia has this piece of hair that like won't go down. She keeps touching it. So me, even though we're not in the same room, I'm like, you know, an hour away from her. I licked my hands. I pretended to fix it for her, so she's dying laughing.
It's like alfalfa.
Never seen that before, but you look beautiful.
No, it's driving me nuts.
It's just energy releasing, Julia.
Oh yeah, right through this little lightning bolt of hair. Because I didn't blow dry my hair because I showered 10 minutes before we went live. Now that I'm crying from laughing. I think we all needed to laugh today.
Yeah, so we need to shake it up.
So you said you were talking about being an empath and watching movies, and I wrote down Captain Phillips, which ironically is pirating. So I'll eventually get into the pirate realm, but I have this really I always say, like, I have to be in love with you, or we have to have a love relationship if we're gonna go see a movie together. Because 9 out of 10 times I see movies by myself because I'm so empathic that I think I stress other people out with my
Mm.
reaction to movies. Before there used to be reclining chairs, which makes it a lot easier for me. I used to have to hold my whole body up. Like, I would not let my feet touch the floor when I went to the movie theater.
Oh
Um,
my God, why?
I don't know. It just used
Can I
to.
tell you why I don't like my feet being on the ground?
Are you afraid someone's gonna grab your ankles?
No, it's worse.
What?
One time when I was very younger, talking about how you pick up on like energetic blockages, I was probably like 7 years old and I was watching Oprah.
Uh huh.
And she had this woman on her show that she went to the movie theater. You know how sometimes you just like slip your shoes off and you like sit Indian style in the chair?
Yeah.
She
Every
did
time.
that. And then at the end of the movie, she put her feet back in and there was a mouse in her shoe.
Ugh.
I know. I know. So now I'm like paranoid about going to the movies and taking my shoes off or having my feet on the ground. So I just picture like mice scurrying.
I don't know. I think mine has more to do with like if I was seeing a movie like Captain Phillips, you know, kind of, it's not a horror movie, but it's definitely a thriller, right? I think that there's something about keeping my whole body together that's very protected. I think it's more of a protection technique, but you know, I used to be like so annoying. Like, now that there's reclining chairs, so it doesn't matter. But I used to be like this, and then I'd be like that, and then I'd be like put my feet up. Like,
Oh
I
my
would not put my
God.
feet on the ground from the second I stepped into the movie theater and it went dark until the lights went on. Um, and so I went to go see Captain Phillips actually with somebody who I released my cord with today. And I remember when Captain Phillips was in the news. I remember, no? You have no idea? Did you see the movie?
Don't even know what you're talking
Okay, well, spoiler alert, but no offense, it was in the news, so it's not really spoiling it. But so I remember when Captain Phillips was in the news, and I was, I didn't follow the story religiously, but I definitely was attracted to it, and I definitely, kept up on it as it was going on. And and I knew this person at the time, and he turned to me in the middle of the movie, and he's like, "You know that he makes it out alive. You followed this news story. Like, why are you bugging out like this?" But there's something about watching a movie and interacting with that energy. I can't separate myself from that. The Martian is another one. I'm like, holy shit, if I was lost in space, if I was trapped in space and I didn't have food, like, I get really panicky and I get really nervous, and I find it really hard to watch those movies. And I just thought it was interesting because, as you said, that Captain Phillips came up for me because that's one of the movies, like, in particular. I don't think I obviously breathed, but I hold my breath a lot when I'm anxious or nervous or kind of feeling those emotions for somebody else. And like at least 3 or 4 times during that movie, I was like, like just gasping for air. And I just think it was really interesting because that movie in particular came up, and it's all about being held by Somali pirates.
Mm.
And it's in South Africa, and it's different type of pirating, but it doesn't necessarily fit into the realm that we're talking about. But just interesting that there was a correlation there, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about pirates, and pirates came up strong for me. Because I think that the heart chakra is connected to water, and there's definitely, when we're talking about pirates, water. But there's something to me that's really free about a pirate, and
I think people need to know that pirates are also in a realm too. Because
yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know what. See, to me, also when I see realms, I also see different time periods as realms that kind of. I don't believe in time the way that other people believe in time, so it might get a little bit confusing. But I feel like in the conscious collective universe, I feel like there's still a time period, right? Like this Victorian time period where pirates are still roaming around, and I feel like that's happening in a door in a realm right next door to where our world is. Yeah, exactly. Um, right next door to where our reality is, and this modern reality. And I think that these are all collectively happening all at once. And I think the things that have happened historically are consciously brought with us through different times. It's interesting how I feel about it. But so I wanted to tie it to, because I love bringing in media and bringing in characters. So we'll say Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a realm, but I don't necessarily think that the Pirates of the Caribbean is the realm itself. I think it's just this Victorian era that kind of just exists. But but when we're thinking about pirates, I think Pirates of the Caribbean is definitely something that comes up for a lot of people, and that they identify with those characters. And Johnny Depp plays this character of Jack Sparrow, and Jack Sparrow, actually, if you follow the story, I know it's very hard because the language is a little bit off, but he actually was part of a Royal Navy, and he didn't agree. They had all of these people in slavery, and so in order to free those people from slavery, he actually turned pirate. And that's part of the story that goes on for the 4 movies and 5th movie that's coming out, and I'm sure many movies after that. But it goes on for those first 3 stories, is really telling the story of Jack Sparrow and how he's a man that lives by a code, but it's his own code. It's not really anybody else's code. And it's actually a joke that kind of runs through the movies, where they're like, hang the code, hang the rules, like, forget it. And he kind of lives by his own code. And I thought that was so important to talk about, that pirates in general, this idea of being a pirate, right, is you don't really have a place. You have your ship and you have your crew, and that's all that you have. And even then, how much betrayal do you think really happened on those ships? Because my code is different than your code, and we don't agree with things. So I think pirates is just I've always been attracted to pirates. I've definitely been a pirate in many lives. Mm-hmm. If I could get up today and be a pirate and like commandeer ships like for a living, I would. Mm-hmm. I think there's something really interesting and really intriguing and beautiful about having this, first of all, the freedom to go where you want, because you have a ship and you can go wherever. So it doesn't matter if you're here, there, or anywhere, you can get up and sail tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So there's this freedom location-wise, but there's also this freedom of spirit that's talking about and connecting with yourself and your own moral compass, and doing what you feel is right. And I think that's why Jack Sparrow is such a beloved and admired character, and why people really connect with him. It's because I think people really want to be that free. Mm-hmm. And it's almost a joke throughout the movies too, like, can we trust what he says, can we trust what he says? But he's actually one of the most trustworthy characters, because his moral compass is so beautiful for having let these slaves go, and for connecting to that, and giving up everything and becoming a pirate in order to serve the greater good. And I think there's something just so beautiful and free and admirable and inspirational about that. And that's why I wanted to really bring this realm in. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about it, because I don't think there's anyone more free as far as realms go than a pirate. I really don't.
No, I agree. And I think that's why so many of us, even just as children, that we loved watching Peter Pan, or loved watching these piratey type movies, or Pirates of the Caribbean, because there is this sense of freedom where they don't have any attachment, that they just go wherever they need to go, and they sail wherever they need to sail, and it's like they just do exactly what they want. And I think so many of us, we want to get back to that point where even as a child, you just always did whatever you wanted anyway, because you didn't realize the repercussions of it. But now I think we overanalyze those repercussions. And I think that's why we connect with that pirate energy so much, is because they're so free. They don't think about it, they just go.
And I love this idea of like connecting that with your gut too, right? Um, you're on a mission, right? A pirate is going from here to there to get gold, let's just say. And in the middle, there's a storm, right? And they can't go any further. So they just readjust their courses and they kind of go with the flow. And not that it's not high stakes or high turmoil, or that there's obviously no repercussions of their lifestyle, because I think that that's not true, but I think that they just don't care. And that's what's so great. I think that pirates are like the original hippies.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I think there's just something so beautiful about that energy and so attractive, and they're really living with nothing. I mean, you have a ship and
that's it.
you yeah, really, that's it. You have some friends, some drinks.
No, I mean, they are the original hippies.
Yeah.
Come and go as they please.
Yeah, I just think it's so great. I think it's such beautiful energy, and I've always, when I was younger, I used to write plays. This is like what I did with my spare time when I wasn't making potions, because I was always a weird hippy dippy kid. I used to write plays, and one of the first plays I wrote, I remember I never wanted to watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember my mom like had the movie, and you know, I was watching one movie in one room with my cousin. We were having a sleepover, and my mom was watching Pirates of the Caribbean in the other, and my cousin kept sneaking out of the room, my room, to go watch with my mom. So finally I sat down and I was hooked. I mean, just from the second I sat down, I wanted to watch it. And I was the type of kid, and I still am this way sometimes with movies, very obsessive, and I wanted to watch it a million times until I got every detail down. And I did this with a trillion movies. And I remember after that, I wrote this whole play about pirates, and I wrote all original songs for it, and changed the lyrics of famous pirate songs to fit like yeah, it was one of the first plays I wrote. That and the Titanic, and it was sort of based off of this idea of Pirates of the Caribbean, but better. But you know, my child mind that's where I went, and I admired it so much, and I loved this idea of being free and not having rules, except for your own rules. And I think that's this place where I'm starting to get back to, and I think you're starting to get back to there too, is these rules and these limitations and this stuff that's you know, seemingly blocking me from getting what I want. Well, who really created that?
We did.
And exactly. And so I'm definitely working really hard on fixing that. I know you are too. So I think that's why pirates are so great, especially in the, you know, the theme of adjusting your sails and just setting course and being able to adjust accordingly.
Definitely. And I also wanted to, I mean, this is what I've heard, but we're talking about how pirates go with their gut and they just kind of go wherever they need to. Supposedly, because pendulums have been around forever and ever and ever, and people would say, like, that I've just heard through the grapevine, is that it really originated back to people like pirates, and they would use, it wasn't so much a crystal hanging from, but they would use some sort of mechanism that was similar to that, so they could find gold and food, and they'd know where to go. So it's interesting that that's something that we're using now in like the modern day, that dates back to that realm.
Astrology too.
And astrology, yeah, it's really crazy, and how those things are still so prominent in the new age.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of karmatic ties, and I mean, when I think of your intuition, right? I think your intuition is just this hub of information that plugs into a collective consciousness. And all of this stuff is happening simultaneously in this sort of black hole. I know what I'm saying doesn't totally make sense. There's definitely more
Yes.
scientific stuff behind it, but I feel like it's all happening all at once. And I feel like when we regress in a past life, into a past life regression, or we're talking about tools and techniques and things that we use, none of this is new. Any speaker that's speaking on a spiritual issue, or any book that comes out, I mean, none of it's new. It's just
No.
perspective.
Yep.
It's really all it is. None of it's new. And that's why these tools and techniques are so great, especially like pendulums. I mean, pendulums were huge for pirates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what they called them, but I've definitely
It's like the
seen.
same. Whatever they use is similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
But you bring up astrology. I think it would be great for you to touch upon. I know that we had discussed some astro topics to bring into this beautiful episode. So today is today a new moon? Yeah, today's the new moon, right?
The new moon's coming up. Hold on, let me grab my book. I think it's on the 22nd.
Okay, so then today's the full.
I don't know why I just said that, because we're in the beginning of a month. But let me grab it. That way we can. Haha, I'm like the Wizard of Oz.
You are.
It's like you see my American shirt for like all 10 seconds. I don't know why I just said that, the 22nd. We're like in the beginning of a month. You're like, oh, okay, that makes no sense.
Oh, I was like, well, I'm an astrology person, so.
Oh yeah, the new moon is today.
Yay! And I think that goes hand in hand too with the whole freedom, theme that we're going with here, because you could utilize the new moon energy to manifest and to create this. You could even manifest just these energetic blockages releasing from you. It doesn't have to be something like this beautiful pot of gold that you want. Of course we want that, but you can manifest just anything that's blocking you to be removed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to touch upon?
Yeah, so when we were talking about this, the first thing that came to my mind was Pluto. Because Pluto is the planet of sex, death, and rebirth, which again, my Phoenix.
Scorpio.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's attached. It's definitely attached to Scorpio, and Scorpio is definitely a very deep and powerful sign. But Pluto is all about transformation. I mean, if you think about sex, death, and rebirth, it's really the stages of life,
Mm-hmm.
and reincarnation and all of that beautiful stuff. And this motif of the phoenix, where it's born and then it lives and it kind of explodes into flames and is reborn from its ashes. And I love that concept. It's just such a beautiful concept. And that's what the Scorpio comes in to be. A Scorpio is born as a scorpion, it evolves to the eagle, and then it evolves into the phoenix. And it's such
a
what?
I understand more now about the phoenix and you and why you want me to create it. I got it.
Oh, it's just clicking now.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, sidebar. But I think Pluto is so great because today, we're talking about these limiting beliefs and how all of these ideas and concepts and really walls and constructs that we put up are blocking us from what we want. And so we need to pull all of that down. So we're in this sort of Plutarian energy, if you'll accept that, because I don't know if that's really a word. So we're in this sort of energy of, well, it was already born. Mm-hmm. We lived through it, and now we're deciding we don't want it anymore. We're knocking it down and reconstructing and building from the ground up, which is really what Pluto is all about, is building from the ground up. So I think it's really important over the next 2 weeks, before we come back and meet again for our next podcast, which will be all about building you up. I think it's really important to look at what you're tearing down and to use that Pluto energy into totally deconstructing what it is that you need to deconstruct in order to rebuild, and putting that energy to good use.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And I think a lot of people don't know that about Pluto either, is how to really utilize that energy. About astrology, we just know our signs,
Yeah.
so I love that you're bringing this new take on astrology and incorporating it into our podcast.
Yeah, I think astrology is my favorite divination tool. It's definitely the most accurate, and it's such beautiful energy, and it's so deep and multi-layered um and cool. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just
Very cool.
there's so much that goes into it. I don't even think that people realize, and um it's important to learn these things, especially as you're walking down your path, because um eventually somewhere you're going to bump into somebody who knows all of this stuff, or who brings all of this stuff into their business. I'm one of them. And I don't know it all. I'm still learning. But you find somebody who talks about it really well, and you don't want to be confused, especially because it can really impact your spiritual path. So I'm excited to kind of bring this new take on it and allow people to learn a little bit more about astrology on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I'm excited to hear about it. So I I know that the way Julia and I wanted to end, or at least bring this into our podcast, was an essential oil for you to either use or to look up and research, and an affirmation to take for the next 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
um, Julia's essential oil is really powerful, and I'm excited for her to share it with you guys because it's one of my personal favorites as well, and it's helped me in so many ways. So, Julia, you want to discuss what oil you think would be great for freedom?
Yeah, release. Um,
Release.
ooh,
I love release because I know during the meditation I had brought up that you might feel heart palpitations, and Julia felt that way. My anxiety used to be so bad that I felt like I was almost gonna have a heart attack. Like it would be palpitating, and I would use the release oil, and I would just put the release oil like all over my chest, and I felt like it really helped because not only helps your energy, but it can help through just like your physical symptoms as well.
yeah, I think I wish I could describe the smell of it.
I like wish I could smell it through the computer. Like I
I
see
know.
your hand. I'm like, whoa.
If um ET phone home.
Hmm.
Um yeah, release is really powerful, and I always use this when I'm going through kind of an emotional transition, when I'm trying to break down those limiting beliefs, particularly for me in my relationships, because that's where I have Neptune, so that's where I'm very veiled and I don't see that necessarily clearly. So when I'm trying to release an idea um, that's no longer serving me, I always use this oil, and I always use this oil during the full moon.
Hmm.
This is always like my diffusing it on the full moon. And today I'll be diffusing it because we've been in this energy of releasing, and I want to help that process. But I always feel like the oils aromatically definitely ease the tension of whatever it is that you're going through. So it's not necessarily meant to take you to the next level, because I think you have to do that work on your own, but I think it's meant to buffer the emotional trauma that comes with releasing all of this stuff. And it's very comforting. It's a very comforting smell, and it's a very calming smell. So um, it's definitely the perfect oil to use when you're transitioning.
I love it. I'm so happy that you brought that oil to life. And also, if you guys decide to do that meditation again and you have release or you order release, I would highly recommend using it throughout the meditation as well, just so you can continue to release those energetic blockages and promote the healing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the affirmation that I want to leave with you all today, it's very simple, but it's also very powerful. So through Julie and I going through Gabby's book, we have these little reminders that pop up on our phone every hour on the hour. So if you feel guided to, I would recommend doing that because I really feel like it helps you to reformat your subconscious and your energetic thoughts and what's coming up for you. So the affirmation is, I am free.
Hmm.
And it's so simple, but it's something that I think that we don't tell ourselves enough. We never say, I am free. And that could be taken into so many different shapes and forms. It could be freedom in your career, freedom in your relationships, freedom in your friendships. or even when you feel that anxiety come up, just say, I am free, because typically that anxiety isn't coming up because you're in like mortal danger. It's coming up because it's your ego trying to block you from going down your path. So if you can, put it on your phone, I have this reminder pop up. It's going to help you to change that thought process that you initially always have whenever you feel fearful or anxious. So I am free. Try to use it at least, for the next 2 weeks, or even just write it down somewhere on your desk, have it as a background on your phone, just somewhere where you can constantly see it. So visualization is a huge key here to breaking through the emotional barriers and becoming more free in your life and, your energy. And I think it'll be really powerful for everyone.
Yeah, I like that one. I always end up writing your affirmations like on a Post-it note and then putting them on my laptop.
Love it.
Which, if that's what you have, it's because I'm on my computer constantly. That's a good place to keep it, is on your computer.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good idea too. I didn't even think of that. No, I physically will like write them on a Post-it note and put it on my desktop.
Yeah.
Oh. But anyway, so that's what we want to leave you with today. And again, I know we have spoken about it a few times throughout our beautiful episode, is that in the next 2 weeks, which is July 18th, can you believe it? We're going to build you back up. So this episode is all about not breaking you down, but breaking down the energetic barriers that are preventing you from having a happier, healthier life. On the next episode, we'll be discussing how to build you up. So our tagline is Build Me Up, Buttercup. And we'll all be discussing, very similar to what we spoke about today, but just reverting it. So now we broke it down and we're going to build it back up, and it's going to be very powerful. And this time it'll be at 7 o'clock, our normal time, July 18th, Monday, 7 p.m. We hope to see you there. Julia and I also have some exciting news.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, hell yeah. Julie and I are doing our first in real life event, and we could not be happier. This is going to happen on July 15th. So all of you Long Islanders and New York City, if you want to come out, the beach isn't that far that we're going to be at. We're going to be at Robert Moses Beach, and it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. And Julia, you want to discuss the name of it?
Yeah, it's Rise Sister Rise. And I know, I'm so excited. And it's all about unlocking the key to your divine feminine and owning your inner goddess, which I think is so important and something that I think that me and you do really well. So I'm really excited to bring that to other people and help empower them. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have a divine feminine, and it's something that's constantly working for us if you know how to utilize that energy. So we're going to definitely do some cool techniques and help you guys bust that wide open.
Definitely. And you don't have to be a female to come. Males are also welcome, because we all have a feminine side that we can tap into, and it's all about having that beautiful balance between the feminine and the masculine. So if this feels like it's stirring something within you, please check out our Facebook pages to get the link, or you can visit risesisterrise.splashthat.com and you can purchase a ticket. And again, it's at Robert Moses, July 15th, 6:30 p.m. It'll be a fun night filled of meditation and personal one-on-one healing. And we hope to meet you in real life. And July 21st, I have my meditation class, which is Shine Bright Like a Clear Quartz Crystal. And I cannot wait to have that. And stay tuned to Julia's speaking engagement circuit. I can't wait for her to get this shit going, because everyone deserves to hear her speak. So please look for her on Facebook at Julia Rose Portela, and I am Brianna Rose. And just stay tuned with us. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope to see you on July 15th in real life and meet you and give you a big hug, because we are big huggers. So until next time on July 18th, we'll see you guys later, and have a beautiful 4th of July.
Bye.
Bye.